Hi, this is Dr. Kerry Johnson. You ever heard that facts tell, stories sell? Well, I think the best people, best producers I've ever seen are just brilliant at stories. The people who tend not to do well are the people that think that product benefits, product features, or talking about the data can actually convince people to do business with them. I think that is totally untrue. I think that people think emotionally. I'm a psychologist with an MBA, which makes me pretty dangerous. I really believe that people buy emotionally. In fact, we know from our research at UC San Diego that trust is worth 17% of the gross price of a product or service. You know what that means? That means if I trust you, you're going to raise your prices by 70%. If I don't trust you, I'm going to go to somebody else with a 1% difference. So trust is it. And the only way I know I've ever heard of before to get trust is by using stories and making people feel understood and not making them understand. Stories are it. You know, we have an attention span of only about 90 seconds. You ever notice that? You're on a phone call, you're on a webinar. After 90 seconds, you're looking at your watch, you're reading your email, you're texting, et cetera, et cetera. 90 seconds, and that's it. Stories increase that envelope from 90 seconds to more like 3 to 5 minutes, if the story is good. Stories do three things. Stories, number one, get people to comprehend ideas a lot faster. The concepts that I know of in my life that I remember the best are always associated with a story. Number two, stories get people to remember things longer. If you can remember a story, it's more indelibly focused in the brain, etched in the brain with a story than it is with a data point. And number three, technical information is understood a lot quicker with the story. I remember when I was 22 years old. I was in the middle of my graduate work, maybe 23. I just got back from playing pro tennis for a couple of years. I guess I was maybe 24. And I went to lectures in the morning for about 2 or 3 hours, 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock on statistics, analysis of variance. I go down to Black's Beach below UC San Diego. I go surf. I'd rehearse the things in my head. I kind of put this over here. And after surfing, I go write out my notes. I got straight A's at graduate school. Today, I go into the bathroom. I can't remember why I walked in there. I once heard if you lose your keys, it's old age. If you find your keys, don't know what it goes to, it's Alzheimer's. And that's kind of where you get to as you age. So the only way that I can understand things, and a lot of your clients also elegantly, effectively, is with stories. Stories are it. So stories are so important that if you use stories effectively, you're going to be able to make sales. If you don't use stories, your closing ratio is always going to be low. One of my clients is one of my mentors is a guy named Danny Renner. I play tennis with Denny, still a good friend of mine. We played tennis back in about 1982, 1981. And he said, Kerry, what do you want to do with your life? And I was sort of thinking, and I was a stockbroker at the time with Kidder Peabody before I started my practice. And I said, Denny, I want to buy a boat. I want to buy a boat, and I want to get a slip in Newport Harbor because I had lived on a boat. I thought it was just mesmerized with boats. Who's going to loan me money for a boat? Danny looked at me and he said, you want to buy a boat, huh? I knew he was thinking this idiot kid wants to get in hock when he's 25 years old and buy a boat. How stupid can this kid get? But then he talked about dollar cost averaging. He pulled out this picture of a couple in Tahiti. They've been dollar cost averaging, putting a certain amount of money in every month. It accumulated so they could take a 4-year trip around the world with a 52-foot swan sailboat. It was just gorgeous. He was talking about dollar cost averaging. I was just mesmerized. He could have pulled out a picture of a 56U Chevy. I would have said, how much is it? Can I buy that thing right now? That was it. And to this day, if you mention dollar cost averaging, it's all about the boat in Tahiti that was bought with dollar cost averaging. So we're going to be talking about the 5 steps of telling brilliant stories, keeping people mesmerized with your stories. But you have to remember that you have to start practicing this in your practice. Facts tell, stories sell, and make sure you try to tell stories on every concept from now on that you want people to remember.